This is my new ultrasonic cleaner. I just received it today and I put it to a quick, simple test for cleaning carburetors and small parts of different kinds. And I did not fill the tank. I already ran it one time while I was sitting and reading directions. You know, you try it out first and then you read the directions if all else fails, right? Well, anyway, that's what a lot of us guys do. I filled it with water, well, halfway up with water, and this bag has some valve stems in it, used valve stems, and soaking in vinegar. I put valve stems, here's the valve cores in this little thing here. I put valve stems in both bags with vinegar at the same time. Sat down, read the directions, run the machine, turned the heater on to 80 degrees centigrade. I have to get a calculator to figure out what that is Fahrenheit, but it's going to be in the neighborhood of, I don't know, it's going to be 160, 170 degrees Fahrenheit, give or take. Anyway, this one just finished. This one went in the bag of vinegar at the same time, but it just sat in this bowl. And I can see the vinegar already kind of working on this one here. It's working on it, and it will work on it if you let it soak for a long time. But I'm going to put this in. The water's warm now. It's not hot, but it's warm. A little hotter than you want for a bath. But I can put my finger in there without getting burned. I'm going to put this bag in. Now it tells you to fill this thing with cleaning fluid, which is, it could be just plain water, it could be water with soap, it could be water with cleaning fluid. It's made for these things. Let me squeeze the air out of this bag. I don't have a tripod. I'll have to shut the camera off for a second. They got all different kinds of cleaning fluids that you can use in these things. But I looked at some YouTube videos and I liked one idea they were doing, and that's putting the small parts in a bag. And one good thing about that is if you really got to go strong, you can't put this stuff here in that machine, but you can put it in a bag. You wouldn't use it full strength, but you can put acid in a bag, in a plastic bag, and then have water all the way around it. That way if the bag does break and it leaks out, it'll be diluted tremendously by all that water. So anyway, we're going to go on ahead and fire this machine up and see what it does on this second bag. This is their soundproof, the paper says soundproof lid. It makes more noise with the lid on than it does without it. So the heater is already on, so it's getting a little bit of an advantage with that because the water was cold when I started it with this, but it immediately started clouding up in that bag, which you will see when I turn this on. I'll give it 10 minutes this time. I gave it 20 the first time. Let's just watch this thing and see how long it takes to start clouding up in there. I see it clouding up already in that bag. I forgot what size this is. I want to say 6 liter. Which is, you know, around 6 quarts, close to it. And look, that is getting cloudy. See, that bag's getting cloudy. That brown, grayish cloud there, right in the center there, corner of the bag. Of course, this is not hot yet. The water around is hot, but the water inside the bag, or the vinegar inside the bag, is not hot yet. It should be getting warm, but supposed to spread the parts out as much as you can. I'm not going to leave this thing on for, the camera on for the 10 minutes that I set it. I did the first set at 20 minutes because the water was cold, and I sat down and read the directions, and the water's warm now, so 10 minutes to probably do the same thing. And I'll just set the camera down, and then we'll pick it back up when this shuts off in another 8 minutes or so. I'm going to put this so-called soundproof lid on just to show you how much noise it makes when it's on there. I guess the camera's getting that. Makes more noise with the lid on than it does off. I guess you could get a sandbag or something and sit on top of it and quiet it down. I don't know. But my water temperature never did make the 80 degrees centigrade because when I go to turn this dial off, timer just went off on the vibrating action. I get down here to just below 50, and that's when my temperature shuts off. So I don't know what 50 centigrade is in Fahrenheit. I'm going to guess 130, 135. I don't know, somewhere, shouldn't be too far from that. So we did this second set for 10 minutes. I still don't have a tripod in here, but the bag did get pretty dirty. I'm going to set the camera down. I'm going to pour this vinegar off and pour it into this bottle of used cleaning vinegar. It's white vinegar. It looks like cider vinegar, but it's not. This is white cleaning vinegar, but it's used. I didn't throw it away. I just saved it to do more dirty cleaning with. I'm going to pour that in there with a funnel, pour that off of these, and then we'll compare the two. I think they're going to be the same. Now, one thing about cleaning small machine parts, carburetors, things like that, vinegar is going to work on corrosion and rust and things like that. But it's not going to work on grease because vinegar is not a solvent. It doesn't melt grease. It's just a mild acid. So on carburetors you're going to need both. You need vinegar to get the corrosion off, and you need a solvent to get the grease and the petroleum-based scum off of them. So you need to clean it with two different cleaners. Well, I'm not going to fill these tanks with two different kinds of solvents, but I will fill a bag with solvent or with vinegar, and I will clean it two different times in the water. It needs that water bath. That's where your vibrations. There's transducers, they call them, underneath this thing that vibrate the water. But there's got to be water in there in order to vibrate this bag. You don't want to do it without. You got to read your directions on these machines. You do not want to do it without the water in there. Or if you're going to use the same cleaning solvent all the time, then you can fill this thing with that and just leave the top on it. Let me pour this vinegar off and see what we got on these parts. Here's my first set. Here's my second set, and they both cleaned up about the same. Real nice job on these valve stem caps. There's a couple of smudges here and there, black smudges. Rinsing them off under the water, those smudges just wiped right off. So we still have a little bit of a pinkish color to them. The brassy color is there a little bit in places, but then this pinkish stuff, I'm not sure. That's the copper that's in the brass that's doing that, I think. I don't know. I could probably put these, just for the heck of it, in a bag of water again, and then stick them in here again just to see if we get any more dirt or cloudiness in that bag. I don't think there's anything that can be dirty inside of these, but just for the heck of it, I could try that and see. A little bit of rubber there from the grommet. Not that these things matter. I mean, valve stems are cheap and you replace them anyway, but I do have new grommets and new valve cores that I can reuse these. There's not a problem with that. I can reuse them definitely. I just use these for experiment to test out this new machine, and you can see it really does the job. But like I say, vinegar works good on any kind of corrosion, any kind of white powdery crusty stuff that might be growing on carburetor parts. And then gasoline or any kind of a solvent, but you got to put it in a plastic bag. You don't want to put solvents and stuff in this machine by itself. You want to have that in the water and put that in a plastic, in a good freezer bag, not a sandwich bag, but a freezer bag, Ziploc freezer bag, and do it over another bowl separate so to make sure there's no leaks in that bag. Or you can, I don't know about putting it in two bags, because I think the air gap in between the two bags will keep the vibrations from getting through. And I saw in another YouTube video that a glass jar does a good job of transmitting the vibrations through the water and into your solvent inside the jar, where a plastic might absorb some of that vibration. I forgot to mention, this machine on the side does have a ball valve for letting the fluid out of it. Yeah, I'm going to just put this on the sink and drain the water out of it, or I could pick the whole thing up and just pour it out the top. But you could do it either way, and so that's pretty handy. The machine does cost just a little over $300 on Amazon, and if I don't forget, I will put a link to this machine. Not to say this is the one to get. The only other one I have is a Harbor Freight one, a smaller one, and I was not that impressed with it. Can't say how impressed I am with this one, other than it did clean these up pretty quick. I will have to get some more use out of it on different things to be able to say more about it, but I think it's doing pretty good so far. Well, so much for this video. Thanks for watching.